Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And that's your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner from thecollegefix.com. This is a great website if you want to know about the back crap crazy stuff that's going on currently at our universities. And I don't mean community college. I mean major universities. Ivy League. It's unbelievable. As I've said before, the new modern Democrat Party are the racists. The progressives and the leftists are the racist, not conservative people. Let's read on. I know you don't believe it. Do some research for yourself based on this article. Columbia hosts 6 graduation ceremonies segregated by race, sexuality, and income level. Oh, carve up some people into smaller boxes. Curiously, is described as multicultural, where the irony is just off the hook. Let's read on. You may have heard of college graduation ceremonies reserved for blacks, Latinos, or gays in these increasingly segregated times. How about a 6 graduation ceremony segregated by race, sexuality, income level at one university? Columbia University is offering virtual ceremonies. They're going to be virtual too. Jesus. For Native Americans, LGBTQIA+, Asian, Latinx, Black, and first-generation and or low-income students over the last week of April described as multicultural graduation ceremonies. Reminds me, I mean, you talk about real racism, this is it. But I heard one time, this isn't just about color or ethnic origin. Back in the early 1900s, you can go to any major hotel in Chicago, and there's a sign in most of the hotels that read, "No dogs or Irish allowed." So, folks, you know what? You want to go back to those times, really? This is what it is. The new Democrat Party. And make no mistake about it, President Biden and all of his people are going along with it. By saying nothing against this stupidity, that means they go along with it. He is the number one, we'll call it, elected official in the country. He represents the entire executive branch, and yet, concerning things like this, his administration and President Biden says nothing. In fact, they even encourage it. Let's read on. They cover graduates of Columbia Engineering, General Studies, and Barnard College at Sibling Women's College. Students must register by March 21st to get in their multicultural graduation gift. Yeah, operators are standing by. Call 1-800-WE-ARE-THE-RACISTS. Limited supply. The first 100 callers get a special multicultural graduation gift, such as stoles, tassels, and pins, and by March 31st to be listed as participants. Yeah, like I would want my name listed somewhere. The virtual segregated ceremonies do not replace ceremonies for the whole Ivy League university and its individual schools, but rather provide a more intimate setting for students and guests to gather. I'm sorry. Let me get a drink. I've got to calm down because I'm going to start laughing. Yoo-hoo, this stuff is awesome. Ice cold Yoo-hoo. Nothing better in the world, man. Old school stuff is still great. Let's try this again. Provide a more intimate setting for students and guests to gather, incorporate meaningful cultural traditions, and celebrate the specific contributions and achievements of their communities, the page says. Yeah, my father's people are off the boat Italians. I think it's cool that Italian people did some amazing things in the United States. When I graduated from college and want just Italians around, well, no. I want everybody. You went to school with everybody. Well, of course, there are segregated classes now, too. Welcome to the new woke racism. It's not clear when Columbia first disclosed the segregated ceremonies. The earliest cachet version of the page is from Friday night. It was flagged the next day by Mercy Baraki, senior assistant at the Center for Social Justice and graduate student in social policy at the University of Oxford. So she's from England/Great Britain, who's about as left as they go, and even she's pissed. Culturally and sexually segregated graduation ceremony, she said. One of the best universities in the world, which is true. She tweeted, if you wanted to know what going backwards looked like, this is it. Now, you have to remember, mercy, 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 mercy. Rocky, a black woman, continued, the cheek of calling them multicultural graduation ceremonies when they're literally based on singular cultures. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Now, you're a woman and a woman of color. You're not black anymore. Remember that. You internalized your racism, so now you hate your own race. You truly are the real racist. I'm laughing because this is the argument they give. I'm not making this up. I'm not that creative, to be honest with you. Think of this stupidity. Yeah, you're right, Mercy. It is going backwards. Like lavender graduation, native graduation. I like the expression, the cheek. I watch a lot of English television shows and movies, and I love that expression. The cheek on this SOB. You know, the nerve, the balls, the cheek is a great saying. I wish Americans would pick it up more. I would love to use it all the time. The cheek of calling them multicultural graduation ceremonies when they're really based on singular cultures. Mercy, mercy, mercy. It's too bad you're not black anymore now. You've criticized them. And let's continue on to an article here. I think kind of dovetails nicely with this. Take a couple of seconds. My laptop's a little slow, but it's about a black student that won't participate in the blacks only commencement. No grad should. And let's read on. Now, you see there it's from the College Fix as well. And this is a guest column. College seniors, regardless of race, should walk the stage together on graduation day. I agree. And there's the individual that wrote the article there. 2 years ago, Harvard University held its first blacks-only graduation ceremony. The event attracted some adverse publicity, but not enough to persuade Harvard to bury the idea. Of course not. Of course not. In a few weeks, Harvard will hold its third such segregated commencement. Now, there's a picture of a real white supremacist, what's that guy's name? Spencer there, white supremacist, card-carrying Ku Klux Klan member. He thinks this is stupid, too. Oh, you know what? Just like Mercy, you criticize this now, you're not a person of color anymore. You're white, according to the leftist morons. Oh, God, this is, this is stuff like the Babylon Bee used to have on their headlines. People 5'4" and below, separated from the graduation, all these other different categories. Would that be a Babylon Bee? But it's not. It's real. Harvard is not alone offering black students their own separate ceremony. At the National Association of Scholars, that must have been a real great association there. We surveyed 173 colleges and universities across the country and found that 71%, 125 of them, have some version of an ethnically separated graduation. Welcome to the new racists. In fact, Harvard has also a separate Latinx graduation. Brown has its black, I never can pronounce that, Irat. Columbia has both black graduation and Raza graduation. These ceremonies are held in the mainstream campus-wide commencements, and attendance is voluntary, but they're so popular nowadays, most students just take them for granted. When I graduated from college in 2016, this is the writer talking, my university, Hofstra on Long Island, hadn't yet caught the wave. Now it has. This year, Hofstra will hold a separate Students of Color graduation as well as Lavender graduate celebration for gay and lesbian students. See, you have to understand the premise of all this. This is why this is so racist. Not because they physically separate them. It's the underlying evil premise of it all. That all, in this case, gay and lesbian students think the same. All black students think the same. You know, so they'll say African Americans because they're people that are black or from Haiti and other parts of the world. All blacks think the same. All Latinos think the same. All lesbians think the same. All gays think the same. If Hofstra had offered me a blacks-only graduation 3 years ago, I would have refused to go. I went to college to get a liberal education, not a black education. Oh, let's give him a round of applause for that one. There it is. Good for you. I love that line. I went to college to get a liberal education, not a black education. And even then, I wanted nothing to do with the new forms of Jim Crow-esque separate but equal. Yes. Another great line. I got to read that whole paragraph again because it's just filled with great stuff. But if Hofstra had offered me a blacks-only graduation 3 years ago, I would have refused to go. I went to college to get a liberal education, not a black education. And even then, I wanted nothing to do with the new forms of Jim Crow-esque and separate but equal. And there you have it. This is the modern version of Jim Crow. And guess what, folks? It's the Democrats again. Democrats in the South, in the U.S., for those of you outside the country here, are the ones that had all the Jim Crow laws passed. And those who aren't familiar with Jim Crow, you can look it up. All Democrats at the state and local levels. All slave owners in the South. Before the Civil War, Democrats. All of them were Democrats. And this Jim Crow lasted for a long time, folks. Right through my lifetime. I was born in 1956. But many black college students seem to delight in the idea of having their own separate ceremony. Harvard's black students in 2017 raised $30,000 for the ceremony. Well, Christ, if you can afford Harvard, you can get a bunch of students to get 30 grand together easy. Here's the other thing. This country is so racist and so bad and so evil. You have people of color in Harvard University, you morons. They're going to owe a boat ton of money, unless their parents or their families have money, and they are on the fast track to make a crap load of money in their lifetime just with the Harvard graduation. Speaking of the roots, Monique Judge, graduate student Michael Higgins, said that a black graduation would occasion an opportunity to celebrate Harvard's black excellence and black brilliance. I thought that all these white institutions were so evil. Let's go on. Huggins' words gave me a pause, do you think? Excellence and brilliance are not, as far as I know, qualities that adhere in a race. Of course, excellence is across the board. And so is work ethic. And so is ingenuity. And so is creativity. However, Huggins' assertion sneaks into the self-doubt of blacks that go to Harvard. What other ethnic group would make such an over-the-top claim? Somewhere behind the declaration of black excellence and black brilliance lies the recognition that many of Harvard's black graduates were affirmative action admits. The separation graduation was, in its way, as much a public confession as a celebration. Jesus, I love this guy. I got to give him another round of applause. Unbelievable. This guy hit it right on the head. Recognition that many of Harvard's black graduates were affirmative action admits. Now, what's going to happen down the road? I go to a doctor that went to a main college. You got a doctor from Harvard. And you go in and get taken care of. You have a medical problem. and you see the person is non-white, you're going to think this person was an affirmative action pick. I'm sorry, it's going to happen. Because of the fact now, the stigma of so many people of color getting into colleges and in places of engineering and such, that you're wondering if they can do it. They don't. I know something about actual diversity. I attended mostly minority majority schools growing up. But on 3 occasions, I landed at all nearly white schools. Now, here's the funny part. They mentioned my hometown. 1 semester in Binghamton and Schenectady, New York. Binghamton University is one of the top universities in the SUNY system here in New York. It's a great education for the money. And they're back crap crazy up there, but they're nearly all white too. In 2 years at Winston-Salem, North Carolina, my best friend at college is a working class white kid from Delaware. Actual diversity is everywhere. Everyday experience is getting to know who differ from you. Skin color and the black experience are at most a small part of it. Jeez, I love this guy. This video is going to go too long, but I don't care. Because they mentioned my hometown, I'm pretty excited. They booed off a speaker off the stage that was talking about economics that worked for Ronald Reagan that cost the local YAF chapter $50,000, and they're getting sued. Binghamton's a great school, but they're back crap crazy. But the word diversity is now invested with meanings that have nothing to do with actual diversity. After Justice Lewis Powell's 1978 ruling in Bake versus Virginia, California at Davis, diversity became an amorphous first resort argument that progressive writers and college administrators use to justify segregated initiatives. It convinces the public that dual-track admissions, segregated residences, segregated orientations, and other segregated programs for minorities encourage racial mixing, not separatism. BS. Look at that little picture down there. I get it. And you can read the rest of the article. It's quite long, but segregated commencement ceremonies evolved from the 1960s demands for segregated housing and other separate programs that colleges have created for minority students. Race nationalism was and remains the force propelling demands for similar programs. And you could read the rest of it here. It's quite long. It's just amazing to me. I'll scroll through it here, and you can stop the video at any time. Oh, gosh. Like other forms of racial separatism on college campuses, segregated graduation ceremonies erode students' sense of common purpose. They represent a shameless betrayal of Dr. King's dream of lifting the nation from the desolate valley of segregation. Again, I got to give this kid some applause. Shameless betrayal of Dr. King's dream. Now, you folks here, it's the gentleman's name, Dion J. Pierre. I'm not sure on the French pronunciation. Might be Louisiana, French Creole, I'm not sure. Or he's just an immigrant. I really don't know, nor do I care. The man's right on the money. I don't care what color he is. I don't care what race he is. I don't care if he's male or female. It's what he writes that's important, and he hit this on the head. He was a co-author with Peter Wood of Separate but Equal Again, Neo-Segregation in American Higher Education. Now, you may want to get a hold of Mr. Pierre. He's obviously an incredibly intelligent young man. I'm 64, so he's young to me. And which reminds me, to end this video here, this is a cartoon, and I did try to get a hold of the editor of the College Fix to get a permission to use some of these cartoons on my channel in the future without the website here. And this cartoon speaks, like they say, pictures speak louder than words. Does lowering this help minorities? And that's the trap. They really don't want the minorities to succeed. If minorities and people of color start doing well in this society, they will not need the bat crap crazy Democrats anymore. So to pretend they're helping them and at the same time keeping them down is their goal. And it's evil and twisted. So give Mr. Pierre, if you can, an email, a message. Job well done, young man. You got your head screwed on straight. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.